Hello everyone, my name is Chris and welcome to my all Wild Wasteland encounters. This video will showcase and explain all the Wild Wasteland encounters you can find in New Vegas. Wild Wasteland is a trait you can pick before leaving Doc Mitchell's house at the start of the game. The trait changes or alters random encounters and locations throughout the game that wouldn't normally be there without the trait. Upon triggering a Wild Wasteland encounter, you will hear the iconic eerie Wild Wasteland sound as well as the Wild Wasteland logo appearing. As always, there are timestamps in the description if you wish to skip to a particular encounter, but without further ado, let's get into the video. First up is that fridge was a death trap. Start from Good Springs and head slightly southeast down the road leading out of town. After a short wait, you will come across a destroyed fridge as well as a skeleton and a unique suave gambler hat. This is a reference to the movie Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, in which Indiana survives a nuclear blast by hiding in a refrigerator. Next up is the alien encounter. Start at the Horowitz farmstead and head north until you approach a cliff with a hovering alien ship above. Below the cliff will be two aliens and an alien captain. If you kill the captain, you can loot the unique alien blaster and ammo from him. The ship and aliens are the exact same ones from the Mothership Zeta DLC for Fallout 3. Next up is What Is It Boy. This encounter can only trigger when you have Rex as a companion. At some point, Rex will start a dialogue with the player with Aru. This will lead the player to a unique location called Jimmy's Well. If the player heads there, they will find the skeleton of Jimmy as well as a unique BB gun called Abilene Kid LE BB gun. This is a reference to the 1954 Lassie TV show where Jimmy would get into various dangerous situations and would be rescued after Lassie would warn someone. Despite the location, Jimmy had never actually fallen into a well in any of the episodes. Next up is Maud's Muggers. After leaving Cerulean Robotics in Freeside, you will have three elderly women in pink dresses wielding either rolling pins or switchblades. Malefic Maud will talk to the player immediately and attack straight after.
Lucky what we have here, ladies. Another unsuspecting ponce.
This is a reference to the Monty Python sketch called Hell's Grannies, where old ladies will go around attacking young men. Next up is You're Getting Too Close, Seamus. During the quest, I put a spell on you at Camp McCarran. After finding out someone is using the control tower at night, you will need to divulge this to Captain Curtis.
Is that right? No one has any business being in there after dusk. I wonder, but he may not know about you. I need you to follow him into the tower. See if you can discover his identity. Report back and I'll have him arrested.
If the player then stakes the tower out, they will be ambushed by Captain Curtis. Right before he attacks, he will say the line,
"You're getting too close, Seamus."
This is a reference to the 1989 Carmen Sandiego video game. This line would be uttered by many NPCs to indicate that the player was close to apprehending a criminal. Seamus is also a 20th century slang term to mean detective. Next up is Rodents of Unusual Size. In certain underground areas such as the New Vegas sewers, Vault 11 or the Brockflower Cave, there are rats that are 1.5 to 2 times bigger than average. This is a reference to the Princess Bride and the rodents of unusual sizes that inhabit the fire swamp. Additionally, it's also a reference to Fallout 2 where the town of Klamath had trouble with large rats. Next up is Owen Beru. When exploring Eunt, head to the town hall and take an immediate right and you will find a destroyed house. In front of the house will be two skeletons named Owen and Beru. This is a reference to Star Wars A New Hope where Luke returns home and finds his aunt and uncle dead and burned. Next up are the Holy Hand Grenades. Head to Camp Searchlight and enter the East Church basement. In the basement on the table will be 3 grenades called Holy Hand Grenades. The grenades will have the same explosion as a mini nuke. The grenades are a reference to the Holy Hand Grenades of Antioch in the Monty Python sketch Monty Python and the Holy Grail. The grenade is also a reference to Fallout 2's random encounter King Arthur's Knights. Next up is Romanus Domus. Head to Cottonwood Cove and the player can find this phrase scrawled on the wall of the Cottonwood Cove headquarters. This is a reference to the Monty Python Life of Brian episode in which Brian was writing graffiti on the palace wall and uses the same incorrect inflection. Next up is Crusoe. Head to the strip and enter the Ultralux. When starting the quest Beyond the Beef and helping Heck Gunderson find his son, you can ask to search an investigator's room that was at the casino.
Private investigator. Ah, yes, I remember the gentleman. Of course, of course. Now, ordinarily, we don't give out guest information, but I think given the circumstances, he'll want to speak with you.
When heading to the room, you will find a dead inspector called Crusoe with red hair and wearing a suit and shades. This is a reference to the TV show CSI Miami and its main character Horatio Crane, played by the actor David Caruso. Next up is the future of law enforcement. This can also be done during the quest Beyond the Beef. If siding with Mortimer, the player can decide to frame Heck Gunderson for the murder of his son.
I've been planning an exquisite society dinner, but there's a bit of a problem with the main course. He's got a powerful and temperamental father. But you would need to deal with his father, Heck. Perhaps if you could smear some of Ted's blood around his father's hotel room, you could frame him.
What is it, citizen? You've done the right thing, citizen. Reporting struggles, scuffles, and tussles is the civic duty of every man, woman, and child.
What in blazes? That's my son you're talking about. He ain't dead. I'm looking for him.
It is my duty to inform you that murder is a serious crime. As a murderer, you should be feeling emotions such as guilt, sorrow, and shame. If not, you may wish to consult a mental...
After informing a Securitron, he will then go to arrest Heck. The Securitron will say the line,
"Dead or alive, you're coming with me."
The hell I will.
This is a reference to the 1987 movie RoboCop, when the protagonist confronts a criminal with whom he has a personal history with. Next up is the One. Start at the Devil's Throat and make your way slightly northwest. Continue and the player will come across a large undetonated atomic bomb. The player can open up the bomb and scavenge energy ammo with a science skill of 60. This is a reference to the undetonated atomic bomb the player can find in the town of Megaton in Fallout 3. The model used for the bomb is also the exact same one as the Fallout 3 version. Next up is Johnny 5 Aces. Head towards Prim from Good Springs and you will encounter Barton, who will ask you to save his daughter from geckos on the cliff. Make your way up and take care of the geckos. On the cliff you will find some loot on an overlook and you will find a dead body named Johnny next to a table with 5 aces on top as well as 4 balls in a line. This is a reference to the failed game project Zyborn Clock, where one of the characters within the game was called Johnny 5 Aces. The balls in a line is also an arrow that points towards the fridge encounter that references Indiana Jones that I covered previously. Next up is Aliens. This encounter only happens during the final battle for Hoover Dam at the end of the game. If the player decides to listen in on the NCR emergency radio, you will hear 2 lines, the first being,
"They're coming out of the walls, man! They're coming out of the damn walls!"
and the second being,
Game over, man! Game over!
This is a reference to James Cameron's 1986 movie Aliens. Next up is Dammit, I'm an Ambassador. After dealing with Benny at the top, you will get the option to work with the NCR. Head to the embassy and work with Ambassador Crocker until you get the King's Gambit quest.
More worrying is the fact that our sources suggest the violence is being perpetrated by the gang that runs the place, the Kings.
Head to Freeside and you can pay Rotface to tell you that Pacer has a jet problem.
Drugs are everywhere in Freeside, and even people you might not expect have become addicts. That King Pacer's a fan of Jet too, though I heard one of the followers talking about it being dangerous for him. Something about his heart.
When discussing the Pacer situation, you can reveal to Crocker that Pacer has the jet problem and he should know what to do with that information. Crocker will reply with,
Damn it, I'm an ambassador, not a doctor. You'll have to find some other way.
This is a reference to Leonard Bones McCoy in Star Trek. Next up is Donnie and Marie. Head through to Vault 3 and make your way down to Motor Runner. Motor Runner will have 2 guard dogs called Bone Nash and Gashbone. This is a reference to the 1976 TV series Donnie and Marie. Next up is the Pimp-Boy 3 billion. After dealing with the Omertas for Mick and Ralph, you will gain access to the Pimp-Boy 3 billion, which is a gold rhinestoned Pip-Boy. When equipping this item, some disco music will play, but only with the Wild Wasteland trait.
Done.
Get some testing with those bots, man.
Next up is Mr. New Vegas. When listening to Radio New Vegas, Mr. New Vegas will have some unique lines of dialogue. The first is,
Stay classy, New Vegas.
This is a reference to the 2004 movie Anchorman: The Legend of Ron Burgundy. The second is,
Mojave, mo problems. Am I right?
This is a reference to the notorious big song Mo Money, Mo Problems. And the final line is,
You know, I tried to measure my charisma on a Vit-o-matic Vigor tester once. The machine burst into flames.
This of course is a reference to the machine the player used in Doc Mitchell's house to distribute your special points. The final encounter is Exterminate. While in combat with any person trespassing on the strip, including the player, the Securitrons in Freeside guarding the strip gate will shout Exterminate.
Exterminate! Exterminate!
This is a reference to the Daleks in Doctor Who are a recurring villain throughout the series. And there we have all the Wild Wasteland encounters within Fallout New Vegas. I hope you found this video helpful, and as always, thank you for watching.